welcome to Half the Battle. And welcome, my friends, to Halloween! Let's talk skeletons!
Yo.
You're a ghost, not a skeleton.
Whatever.
Skeletons can be pretty scary, as we found out last year.
One day you will meet your fate, and we will be waiting. No! Let me go!
And did you know, there's a skeleton right now, under your skin, just waiting to burst out. Creepy stuff.
So, let's take a look at the cartoon episode, Skeletons in the Closet.
You know that the episode doesn't actually revolve around skeletons, don't you?
No?
Nope.
Damn it!
Okay, so the episode begins with Destro, the Baroness, and a nameless female Cobra trooper fleeing from a battle they've just lost.
Always nice to get dropped right in the middle of a story, isn't it?
During their escape, Destro even finds the time to flirt with the trooper, much to the delight of the Baroness. He assures her, though, that their time with Cobra is coming to an end, as he needs just one more big weapons deal so they can retire together. And we cut to Destro trying to do just that, selling weapons to an assortment of shady types. You know, it sorta reminds me of the Naked Gun opening. Destro's sales pitch is interrupted by the Joe team, though.
Not likely, G.I.Joe!
After him! We'll take care of these guys! You're all under arrest for illegal arms procurement.
You cannot arrest us! We have diplomatic immunity!
Of all the...
They're right. We can't arrest them.
Flint, I want you to know that Danny Glover is very disappointed in you right now.
Diplomatic immunity!
Just been revoked.
Anyway, Destro is almost captured, but he does manage to escape thanks to the help of a mysterious woman.
Thank you, whoever you are.
Coverta Fatale.
Coverta Fatale. You know, it's quite an accomplishment when you make the names of women in frickin' Bond movies sound sophisticated by comparison.
Ugh. What exactly does any of this have to do with Halloween?
I'm getting to that. This is just a setup.
Destro, of course, immediately starts flirting with, Coverta, even telling her that there's nothing between him and the Baroness.
She is but a confused creature with whom I have been erroneously linked.
Ouch. That's cold, dude.
They go on a rooftop date where Destro explains why he wears a steel mask.
It has to do with an ancient family curse. Many years ago, one of my ancestors was convicted of witchcraft. Stop him!
Let me go!
He was forced to wear a mask over his face for the rest of his life. His descendants were so angered that they vowed to fight the forces of law and order forever. We shall all wear masks until law is sacrificed upon the altar of history.
He then tells her that they have a family reunion every year on the winter solstice. Back at G.I.Joe headquarters, Lady Jaye receives a letter with some exciting news.
After considerable effort, we have identified you as the last living heir of Dame Agatha Doyle. Please come at once to Loch Lomond in northern Scotland to lay claim to Doyle Manor. Sincerely, Clayton Oliver Nichols, Solicitor at Law.
While Flint thinks that something may be up, Lady Jaye still heads off to Scotland and takes possession of the house. A house that vaguely reminds me of Lovecraft's or Batman's Arkham Asylum. It might actually be based on those. They themselves were modeled on an actual insane asylum in Massachusetts. It looks exactly like you'd expect a haunted house to look. And sure enough...
What? Who are you?
I am the housekeeper, madam.
You startled me.
This is not a house for the timid, madam.
Don't tell me. It's haunted.
Some say. So beware. Never enter the north chamber. It be cursed.
See? That's spooky. Ergo, Halloween.
Fine.
Meanwhile, a mysterious stranger enters the nearby town, asking about the manor. Since the internet hadn't been invented yet, and this house doesn't seem to have a TV, or electricity for that matter, Lady Jaye starts investigating the place, in her sexy nightgown. Of course, because growing boys need that sort of thing too. She is startled when a ghost appears. Also, there's a freaking guillotine in the room for some reason. And this is her reaction. You know, I can't help but think that last year the Joe team was much more blasé when it came to ghosts. Despite that cowardly scream, she does go on investigating. She finds a hidden passage to the basement. And also, she finds skeletons. Literal interpretation of the title justified. She manages to get away from them and finds herself down in the basement, facing a meeting of furries?
Most disturbing Halloween episode ever.
These people in animal masks are worshipping an ancient creature in their well. And judging from the art on the stairway, that thing must be a great old one. Does this mean the great Cthulhu actually appears in G.I.Joe? Or at least something heavily inspired by Lovecraft? Let's find out!
Oh, creature of the deep!
That thing is your eldritch abomination? I'm sorry, but that thing does not inspire insanity-inducing fear, people!
I mean, it looks like a freaking Pokemon! So, the guys with the animal heads are worshipping their eyeball tentacle thing. And there's a phrase you don't hear every day. When they spot Lady Jaye, they capture her. By the way, this scene is probably what clueless people think a Dungeons & Dragons session is like. Meanwhile, the mysterious stranger has worked his way to the manor and tackles the housekeeper, who is surprisingly limber for somebody with that build. And hey, they remember to use Chekhov's guillotine. Kudos! Meanwhile, Lady Jaye is to be sacrificed to the creature. Because of course she is. I'm guessing they're expecting her to laugh herself to death when she sees the damn thing. Seriously, it's about as scary as the guy haunting my apartment.
Hey!
Seemingly because I used up all my tentacle jokes last week, another mysterious stranger shows up and stops the proceedings to ask Lady Jaye how the hell she found out the furry tentacle club was there. This guy turns out to be Destro, of course, because the manor is his ancestral home.
Yeah, who didn't see that one coming?
Destro, much like the audience, can believe it's just a coincidence, and dismisses the idea that he's related to a G.I. Joe. Not getting any answers he likes, he continues a sacrificing. Just then, the first mysterious stranger arrives, and it's his turn to interrupt. After a short scuffle, he rescues Lady Jaye, in the most undignified manner possible. To the shock of absolutely nobody, this guy turns out to be Flint, who followed Lady Jaye to Scotland because he was concerned.
Or he's an obsessive stalker. You make the call.
He gets on the horn to the rest of the Joes and he calls in the cavalry, as they try to escape from Destro and his petting zoo relatives. The Joe reinforcements show up only to be met by a battalion of Cobra troops. Cobra troops that appear just out of nowhere and really have no goddamn reason to be there. Except, well, we needed a battle scene and a unit of highly trained soldiers with guns against a bunch of weirdos using only medieval weapons wouldn't be much of a fight. Flint and Lady Jaye continue their escape, when, all of a sudden, giant spider out of freaking nowhere!
See, now we're talking! Why couldn't that thing have been the unspeakable horror they were worshipping?
Giant spiders are freaking awesome. I mean, just ask Tolkien or J.K. Rowling. Our time with the only actually scary monster is far too brief though, as it gets accidentally taken out by a missile barrage from outside.
God damn it.
Meanwhile, the huge firefight outside has taken its toll on the manor itself, as it gets set on fire. At the same time, Barbecue has made his way inside and has found a holographic projector that explains the ghost seen earlier. Using the machine, he manages to scare off Cobra and end the battle, but not before the entire manor is engulfed in flames. Destro has managed to get away, and in the morning laments the loss of his family home. If you've seen my Baroness review, you know what's coming next.
I arranged it all. I led the Joe agent here knowing this would be the result.
Baroness! But why?
Why? To make you pay for your unfaithfulness with that which you value most. Your ancestral home.
The Baroness also tells him that he is in fact related to Lady Jaye, according to the records anyway. That's a nice bit of canon that never ever gets mentioned again. And finally, the episode ends on an ominous note.
I hope you never learn what horror your actions may have caused.
Did that thing just fart? Yes, that was a fart. Lovecraft must be rolling over in his grave.
So, that was Skeletons in the Closet.
My conclusion, one word. Wasted potential.
That's 2 words.
Whatever. Look, there were a lot of good ideas in this episode, but they failed miserably in the execution.
Exploring Destro's past and making his whole family a cult? That's a good idea. Putting them all in animal masks? Bad idea. Especially since the original Destro and his namesake both wear iron masks. Having them worship an old one? Good idea. Having said monster be about as scary as sushi? Bad idea. Especially when they had a perfectly good spider right there. Then we come to Lady Jaye. Yeah, having her run around in her nightgown for most of the episode, while, I might add, having her cup size increased by several letters in certain shots, that's all just far too cliché for my liking. And of course, she had to be rescued by Flint. Yeah, this episode won't go down as a beacon of pride for feminism. Next, why the hell was that battalion of Cobras there? They had no freaking reason to be at Destro's family fun time, especially since at the beginning of the episode, Destro said he wanted to quit Cobra. Finally, why did they feel the need to explain the ghosts as being holograms? We've already seen real ghosts in G.I.Joe, and the spider, nor tentacruel over there, were fake. I don't want to end on a negative note, and there are 1 or 2 good things to say. The Baroness, of course, was superb, and this was the most clever and vicious we've ever seen her in the cartoon. I also like a clever little bit at the beginning, when you listen to the lawyer's name.
Sincerely, Clayton Oliver Nichols, solicitor at law.
His initials spell the word con. That's a nice subtle hint.
By the way, this episode gets a sequel of sorts in season 2 of the cartoon show. But that's a tale for another day, my friends. Maybe next Halloween, maybe sooner, maybe later. You'll have to wait and see. Now, what's on the schedule for next week? Oh God. Oh no. Oh God, no! Help me! Get me out of here! welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome folks to Halloween. Yeah, I don't know what the hell happened to my voice there. I've got quite the tale for you this year, folks. Cobra is going to try and summon Great Cthulhu. Well, actually more like Great Cthulhu's idiot brother. And Cobra wins this time. Sort of.
Previously on Half the Battle's Halloween special. Last year we had a haunted house, eldritch abominations, and furries. In the end, we found out Destro's family worshipped an evil old one in their ancient family home. The Joes ended up burning the place down thanks to the machinations of the Baroness, who was a woman scorned.
I arranged it all. I led the Joe agent here knowing this would be the result.
Baroness! But why?
Why? To make you pay for your unfaithfulness with that which you value most. Your ancestral home.
And the episode ended on an ominous note.
I hope you never learn what horror your actions may have caused.
So, I think it's about time we found out just what exactly was in that pit. Which is why we're looking at the follow-up episode to last year's tale, Sins of Our Fathers. We start the episode where we left off 1 year ago, in Destro's ruined ancestral home. By the way, by coincidence, it's been a year in both cartoon time and in real life here on this show. Cobra Commander is trying to communicate with the Great Old One by using a laser.
Lasers! Is there anything they can't do?
The attempt fails, of course, and it's revealed Serpentor just gave the commander the assignment as busy work.
Tangent time!
Yeah, in the year between these two episodes, Cobra genetically engineered Serpentor, the Cobra Emperor, as a replacement for the incompetent commander. Ever since then, Cobra Commander has been, on again, off again, plotting to get rid of Serpentor. Anyway, back in today's episode, we switch to Dial Tone, sitting in a crummy apartment, being miserable. We find out why in a flashback. The Joes are getting ready to go out and celebrate their re-enlistment. I make no comment about their fashion sense.
I will instead just play some music.
Before he can leave though, Flint informs Dial Tone that he's being kicked out of the Joes, since he wasn't performing up to their usual standards. What, did he accidentally hit somebody he was actually shooting at? His flashback is interrupted by somebody knocking on his door. Well, I say knocking, it's more immediately barging in by some chick. Rude. She offers him a job designing a communication system. And before you can shout, that's either the Baroness or Zarana in disguise, he's accepted the job and is in Scotland working on Project Cthulhu baiting.
Come along, Dialtone. I don't want to see you wasting time with them again.
Why is she still calling him Dialtone? I mean, I get that Joe code names are also their nicknames, but she's supposed to be his boss for crying out loud. Anyway, not all is as it seems, since we find Flint spying on the operation. It turns out Dialtone getting kicked out of the Joes was just a ruse to get him into Cobra's operation. Even Dialtone didn't know because...
If Dialtone knew we wanted him in Cobra's operation, they'd find out. Cobra could have used a voice analyzer to detect the truth.
A voice analyzer lie detector that's an incredibly useful invention, and that's integral to the plot of the episode.
As such, it will never, ever be mentioned again in any future episode. What, did I accidentally start to review Star Trek Voyager?
It seems there's something rotten in the state of, Scotland, as Cobra intercepts Flint's transmission and the poor sod is immediately captured. By the way, this is the second Halloween in a row where Flint has been stalking a fellow team member and followed them halfway across the globe. Dude has issues. Thanks to technology borrowed from Ghostface of the Scream series, Cobra can impersonate Flint, so it will seem that everything remains normal at the site.
But my televisors have cooked up a little device that
modulates my voice. I'll make all your scheduled reports, Flint, darling, only I'll report nothing but failure.
When they try the ruse, though, the Joes are one step ahead of them. They've got their own voice analyzer and figure out it's Serana making the call. Once again, this incredibly useful technology should be standard security equipment. So naturally, it's never ever mentioned again. Anyway, the Joes mount an assault/rescue operation. Meanwhile, dial tone has made the necessary adjustments to the communication laser. Yeah, I still don't get that. A laser? What the hell? Anyway, it works!
Now you disturb me with no offering!
Having successfully called Cthulhu, Cobra Commander lays out his plan.
I seek a boon, O ancient and mighty one. I offer a pact for all eternity. Destroy a man for me, a single man, and I promise sacrifices for you undreamt of in all your centuries of sleep.
Dude, do you really think that you can bargain with a great old one?
Alright, agreed. But who is this single man that you fear so much?
The one known as Serpentor.
Apparently you can. That's sorta weak for a great old god. But you know what? Never mind. At least we finally get to see the monster in all its glory. There's something not quite right here.
Because the last time we saw that monster, it looked like this. A farting eyeball with tentacles. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm happy it doesn't look like that anymore. It's just weird. Also, if they're continuing this Cthulhu homage, the thing should really have tentacles, and lots of them. Or maybe I've been watching too many Japanese cartoons. Anyway, the Joes arrive just in time to see not-so-great Cthulhu emerge. They engage, but their weapons are ineffective, as the creature just heals from its wounds in moments. Also, its blood is glowing blue color because, well, it's an 80s cartoon. Dial tone finds Flint and the Joes beat a hasty retreat.
I'm with them on this one. I'd be running away too, if for no other reason than to change my pants.
General Hawk decides to warn Serpentor the creature is coming, since an eldritch horror from beyond the universe seems to be the sort of thing you'd put your differences aside over so you can fight it together. Serpentor is skeptical though, since usually Cobra Commander is so incompetent he couldn't summon body odor at a Star Trek convention. But he has to face facts when the monster shows up.
What? Impossible! Cobra Commander actually succeeded?
I know, right? This is a first for the series. Cobra Commander has a plan that actually works!
I mean, that's like Charlie Brown actually kicking the football. Serpentor launches the full military might of Cobra, but their weapons are equally ineffective. Though I should point out we now know that Cobra troops can hit their target just as long as it's slow moving and the size of an office building.
Cobra Commander's plan works, and people can actually hit what they're aiming at. This is what Lovecraft meant, folks, when he said that madness would follow when the old gods returned. Repent! Repent! The end is here! Anyway...
The Joes are on the way and Dial Tone gets a present.
What's this? Your uniform! Welcome back, Dial Tone, and thanks for the job well done.
Job well done?
He summoned an unkillable ancient creature of horror that will devour all of mankind.
That's a job well done? What the hell does a Joe have to do to get a medal? Napalm the orphanage and puppy store district of a city? I'm gonna need more shock treatments.
What does it want?
Okay, so a giant rampaging monster is screaming your name and you are unclear about its intentions? DNA from all the greatest leaders in history being put to good use there, Serpy.
And you know, it's sad. I mean, maybe Serpentor could have just talked to Cobra Commander. You know, get his point of view, work out their differences. Then maybe he could have gotten the Commander to call off Cthulhu. Why yes, I did just go to that horrible length for such a horrible pun. You're welcome.
The creature easily overcomes all of Cobra's defenses, causing Serpentor to make a decision.
Then I must lure the creature away from the Terrordrome in order to save Cobra.
That's actually an awesome character moment, and is one of the things that separates him from Cobra's old leader, the Commander. The Joes arrive on the scene and are contacted by Destro. He says his family used an ancient chant to lure the creature, and they might be able to get the creature into the ocean with it. Since nothing else has worked, the Joes figure why the hell not, and record Destro's chant. Well, that certainly isn't Nglui Glonatha Cthulhu Rilye Lagnago Vertagen. Hell, it's not even Klato Barata Nikto. But it is Destro's voice, just recorded backwards. Here's what it's actually saying.
Anybody listening to this backwards for a secret occult message is a real dweeb.
That's a pretty good burn to anybody who was ever convinced rock albums could summon the devil. So, as Serpentor bravely faces the monster, and I'm not even being sarcastic when I say that, the Joes show up to lure the beast. Serpentor draws his own conclusions, though.
What? The Joes are behind this after all? They shall pay with their lives!
And you know what? I can't really blame the guy. I mean, G.I. Joe has been fighting him all his life. This also conveniently gets Cobra Commander off the hook, since Serpentor would have probably turned him into paste otherwise. So the monster follows the giant speaker into a deep sea trench, and the Joes drop like all the bombs on him. He gets buried under a ton of rubble. With most of their ammo and fuel gone, and with them being under attack by some very pissed off Cobras, the Joes beat a hasty retreat. This leads to just about Cobra's only military victory in the history of the cartoon series. Like last year, the episode ends on an ominous note with a shot of the ocean floor and bubbles coming out of it. Does this mean the creature could come back?
Nope, because it's never referenced again.
And that was Sins of Our Fathers, or G.I. Joe Does Lovecraft. Again, here are my thoughts.
Overall, this was a great episode that threw some nice curveballs.
Cobra Commander came up with a plan that actually worked, and Cobra won in the end. Hell, even Cobra Commander himself didn't really lose, since he didn't get blamed for sending a demon of nightmares after his boss. Speaking of which, I really liked Serpentor in the episode. Usually, he's just the angry guy who yells, "This I command!" But here, he's depicted as a competent leader that actually seems to care about the organization he's in charge of. Plus, he's definitely not a coward when facing the creature. And while the monster looked nothing like the eyeball tentacle thing from a year ago, it's easy to see why they changed it, since that thing was about as intimidating as a stuffed Pokemon toy. So, I'm happy to overlook the plot hole. Especially since no farting was involved this time. And despite what I said earlier, it did still have some tentacles. They just didn't look very tentacly. Now, the ultimate solution seems a little too simple, calling the creature with the giant speaker. It does seem like an invincible eldritch abomination got defeated by essentially going like this.
Look at the keys! Come on, boy! Look at the keys! Come here! Come here!
But I can overlook that as well, since the thing was probably mystically bound to those chants. And hey, I'd like to see anybody else come up with a plan to stop a great old one. There was one major flaw with the episode, though. General Hawk's plan. He wants to know what Cobra is up to in Scotland, so he fires Dialtone, hoping Cobra will recruit him, so he can send Flint to spy on him and get answers.
Yeah, here's the problem. He should already know everything that's going on.
They know Cobra is screwing around in the ruins of Destro's ancestral home. And they know what happened there last year. And they know there's a monster down there. At that point, they should have just called in an airstrike and things would have been taken care of. Instead, they sent the one guy on the team, the one guy that could actually help Cobra complete their project to summon Great Cthulhu's idiot cousin.
So the potentially Earth-ending threat was unleashed only because General Hawk was too stupid to look at the mission reports from Flint and Lady Jaye from last year's adventure.
That, or he just wanted to make extra super double duper sure Cobra was doing the thing they were so obviously doing. You know, for the first time in a cartoon review, I'm upping the Hawk is a douche count.
In conclusion, this was a great episode, though it does seem like it comes from Bizarro World. I mean, what with Cobra being competent and actually winning, and the Joes, or at least General Hawk, being complete idiots. Well, that's all. Happy Halloween, everybody, and have a wonderful night. Greetings, mere mortals! I mean, hey, welcome to Half the Battle. Sorry, I got possessed there for a second.
Over the years, we've seen what the Sunbow cartoon has to offer in the way of horror. But since that well is running a bit dry, it's time to move on. Yeah, that means we're gonna be looking at a scary Deke episode for this Halloween.
Abandon hope, all ye who clicked play.
We're taking a look at Night of the Creepers. The episode starts with a military defeat for Cobra, so par for the course there. The Joes stake out a hidden base, but the commander and Destro manage to escape. So it's the same ending as any other G.I. Joe episode, but this time we're seeing it at the beginning.
Hell, at least this saves time.
This defeat is a bit worse than usual, though, as the Joes manage to capture all of the Night Creepers. Those guys are basically ninjas for hire that have a contract with Cobra. Their leader does manage to escape, as you do. His name, by the way, is Night Creeper Leader.
Wow, they really stretched their creative muscles to breaking point on that one, didn't they?
Also, he looks nothing like the Night Creeper Leader toy. I imagine that's because its design hadn't been finalized yet. That's why his model is just a Night Creeper wearing a silly hat. Anyway, Lowlight and Scoop follow him to another hidden Cobra base that has shenanigans going on. Lowlight admits that he's scared of the dark, but this plot was rehashed from a much better Sunbow episode, so I'm just gonna ignore it today. Except to say, he's now also afraid of ghosts, which is just a weird thing to tack onto the character.
What I'm really scared of are ghosts.
Meanwhile, a Night Creeper Leader...
You know what? I'm just gonna call him Bob. Because his real name is too silly and way too long. I'd never get through the review.
So, Bob is asking Cobra Commander to help rescue his troops, but he refuses, stating that he won't be needing them anymore, as he's got something better.
I hope you're not planning.
As a matter of fact, we are. Meet your replacements. Gaze on the splendid fighters from the past, mummified to serve in a future time.
They were the greatest warriors of the ancient world.
Zombies! Or mummies! Well, mummies are zombies anyway, half the time, so I'm gonna go with that.
That's right, we've had ghosts on this show, we've had Cthulhu, but this year, it's zombies!
Also, how long was Destro just waiting there to pop out for dramatic effect? So, they're gonna resurrect mummies. And what ancient magic will they employ?
But they've been dead 1,000 years.
A mere technicality when my life force regenerator can electronically transform these mummies into obedient and deadly fighters.
Oh, he just has a remote that can raise the dead. Really, simple as that, huh?
If you have technology like that, how come you're not already ruling the world?
Each with the strength of 10 men.
And why exactly do they have the strength of 10 men? Zombies aren't stronger than humans, but mummies, they come with all sorts of superpowers just because.
Is that racist? Or zombieist?
Bob explains who these guys are.
You don't understand. These are the Phantom Warriors of Nambahat, the personal guard of the Dragon Emperor himself. If you continue, he will take an awful revenge.
Huh, an undefeatable army of a Dragon King. Did Mortal Kombat rip off this idea for a few of their more crappy games? Anyway, Bob goes to find his Dragon Emperor to inform the corpse that his army is on the loose.
The Dragon Emperor, the first Night Creeper of them all. Your Highness, the King Cobra guards your tomb, but Cobra Commander disturbs the sleep of your warriors. My liege, your will shall be obeyed.
And somehow this wakes him up. Yeah, his army getting up and running off, no effect. This almighty warrior king has to be told Cobra is messing with his stuff. Cobra has given the zombies Night Creeper outfits for some reason, but only the upper half. No pants.
Yep, what we have here is a pantsless zombie army.
Meanwhile, Scoop and Lowlight have gotten inside and are observing these weird goings-on, alerting the Joes. They also find one of the packs Cobra uses to control the zombies, when they get interrupted all of a sudden.
Who? What are you? Please don't...
Are you snakes or men?
Ooh, a creepy ghost girl! Now it really is a horror story!
Samara tells them they need to find the ruby heart of darkness to stop the zombies. Pretty convenient.
She didn't look like a ghost, did she? Nah.
What? She totally did!
A short time later, the battle between the Joes and Cobra's undead army is joined. They gave them laser weapons! What we've got here is pantsless zombies with laser guns!
Okay, I'll admit, this is an original idea for once.
Those mummies are a lot tougher than we thought!
Yeah, tougher.
You should note that at no point whatsoever do any of the zombie mummies actually get hit. Because apparently, even the undead aren't allowed to die in a G.I.Joe cartoon. The Joes are getting creamed until the Dragon Emperor shows up. Kinda.
Phantom warriors, you must obey my will.
The big giant head takes command of the zombies, who are now fighting both the Joes and Cobra. Let's see how the commander and Destro take this.
Control those warriors!
Okay, with that facial expression, Destro just lost all mystique and badassery he once had. I'm not even mad that a golden mask shouldn't be able to make expressions like this. It's just too freaking funny. You'd think that at this point, the Joes and Cobra would team up to fight this undead menace. But nope, it's all up to the Joe team.
Cobra is even more useless than usual this time.
They figured out they need a big crystal, the Ruby Heart of Darkness, to amplify a signal to shut the mummies down. Scoop and Lowlight are on the case.
Where are we gonna find a crystal? Scoop, come here.
Really? They were just standing next to it. That's easy, isn't it?
I mean, I expected that finding the ruby would be an entire quest of its own. You know, an epic adventure.
I mean, just imagine if in the Last Crusade, Indiana Jones just found the Grail sitting on a shelf at his university at the beginning of the movie. That's what this is. Predictably, the guy comes to life and attacks them. Despite nearly crapping himself, a lowlight takes out the Emperor only to reveal...
Night Creeper leader!
It was Bob all along!
Oh great, we seem to have moved on to Scooby-Doo now. It was Old Man Bob all the time, the owner of the amusement park.
Anyway, they grab the crystal off Bob. This does beg the question, was Bob just sitting there the whole time? Remember what he said.
My liege, your will shall be obeyed.
Yes, Bob, I need you to put on my clothes and just sit there waiting to see if anybody shows up to steal my ruby. Boss, couldn't I just hide the ruby somewhere? No, just sit there, waiting. What if I have to go to the bathroom? The throne has built-in facilities, Bob. Now do my bidding. Anyway, Scoop rigs up the ruby to the plot device, and sure enough, all the zombie mummy undead thingies are neutralized. Except the ones that had, off bloody camera, captured Cobra Commander and Destro, since those were out of reach of the device.
I would have liked to have seen that scene, but apparently that was just too much to ask for.
The real Dragon Emperor then shows up, and he needs a new ruby since his was stolen. And Heart of Darkness was kind of a literal name, since he needs a human heart to make another one.
Where is my Heart of Darkness?
It is no matter, my lord. You have your choice of 2 brave donors for a new heart.
Okay, gotta admit, this story went kinda dark all of a sudden.
Meanwhile, Scoop is heading back to the temple, helped by Samara.
You have returned for your friend.
Where is he?
You must hurry if you ever wish to see him again.
Thanks to Ghost Girl, he arrives just in the nick of time and stops the Emperor dead. Pun sorta intended. Bob and the Commander beat a hasty retreat. And I should note that the animators completely forgot Destro was there, since we don't see him escaping.
That's the kind of top-notch quality I've come to expect from Deke.
In the same vein, there are scenes where the mummies appear to lose their Nightcreeper gear all of a sudden. The Grudge Girl shows up again and tells them to return the ruby, ending the curse. You know, this is the most helpful creepy little ghost girl ever. If Alessa in Silent Hill would have been that nice, the game would have been over in 5 minutes. And so we end on 2 notes. Firstly, the Joes salute the fallen warriors of the past.
Let's just hope these soldiers can rest in peace for another 1,000 years.
Instead of, burning them in an unholy fire so this kind of crap can never happen again. And believe me, mummies are plenty flammable, so this would work.
Secondly, this happens.
Well, I'll be. How do you like that? You know, if all ghosts were as nice as that little girl, I don't think I'd ever have to be scared again.
How could you not tell she was a ghost?
Actually, it's all the sound mixer's fault. The girl didn't really look like a ghost, but they modulated her voice to sound supernatural.
You must hurry if you ever wish to see him again.
It was a stupid decision that ruined what could have been an actual twist. So, that was Night of the Creepers. Deke tries to be scary, ends up lame.
And really, you have to work hard to achieve that. I mean, think about it. Think of the concept.
You've got zombie mummies with laser guns, and you somehow managed to make that concept suck. I could take that premise, sell it to Asylum Films, and make upwards of like $20 off it.
One of the main problems was that it apparently had to be so kid-friendly that they couldn't even shoot mummies.
The other real problem I have is they rehashed Lowlight's fear of the dark, something he's already dealt with in a much, much better episode. And they tacked on a fear of ghosts. It doesn't help that you can see him shaking in fear like it's a goddamn Scooby-Doo cartoon. Other problems include numerous animation errors and the aforementioned voice modulation. It's sad. In the right hands, this could have been a really good story, or at least an entertaining one. No, really, mummies with laser guns. Get on that, Hollywood.
Well, so ends October, and tomorrow the creepy crawlies all get put back into storage. But until then, have a happy Halloween, everybody, and I'll see you next time for the next review.
Welcome to my nightmare. I think you're gonna like it.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome, my friends, to Halloween!
We've looked at a lot of scary stuff in these specials. There have been ghosts, zombies, even Great Cthulhu. Twice.
But what about something more recent? Let's find out what happens when G.I. Joe goes to Elm Street.
We're taking a look at the cartoon episode Nightmare Assault. We start off immediately in Lifeline's Nightmare. Yeah, I'm giving away this is a nightmare straight off the bat, but it's not really a big spoiler considering the title right there does its own spoiling. Now, you'd think that as a medic, Lifeline's biggest nightmare would be losing a patient on the battlefield. And it does look that way at first, as he comes across Iceberg and he is unable to save him.
I guess this really is a horror movie. I mean, the black guy dies first.
Losing Iceberg isn't the thing that terrifies him, though. No, it's having to use a freaking gun to save his own ass. Yeah, for those of you who don't know, Lifeline is a pacifist, and oh boy do they play that up in the cartoon.
Lifeline, hand me the crescent wrench, will you? No! Well, why not, for crying out loud?
Well, because helping you arm a rescue chopper goes against my principles. That's why.
When his drowning, dying friend hands him a gun to shoot a huge, deadly freaking snake, he does use it. And it turns into a cobra itself, biting him, causing him to wake up with a jolt.
Has anybody ever really woken up like that?
Lifeline goes to get a cup of coffee and comes across Lowlight, so we can get an exposition dump about how the sniper has nightmares every night of his life. We then switch to the Terrordrome for even more exposition. Dr. Mindbender has invented a Zombulator, a machine capable of influencing people's dreams using psychic waves. Yeah, no clue how that's supposed to work, but whatever.
There is no margin for failure, Dr. Mindbender. This is not one of Cobra Commander's pathetic little schemes.
Like, for instance, summoning Great Cthulhu?
Yeah, that sure was a pathetic little scheme. That almost killed your ass!
We switch once again, and this time to a G.I.Joe attack on a Cobra base. Things take a turn for the WTF as a giant snake comes out of the base. A giant, fire-breathing snake that kills a bunch of Joes in short order.
Oh no, they're gone, dead! It's my fault!
I should have never got rid of the parachutes due to budget cuts. Yeah, since a bunch of Joes just straight up died, you can deduce this is another nightmare. Hawks, to be precise. And his biggest fear is giving orders that get people killed. The next morning, Lady Jaye checks in with Hawk, who's in rough shape from the nightmare. Lady Jaye confesses she had one too.
I don't know. I dreamed I was singing the national anthem at the Super Bowl.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I wasn't exactly in dress uniform. It was a little embarrassing.
Oh, come on! Hawks and lifelines we get to see, but this one we just skip? Stupid damn children's cartoon.
Hey, wait a minute.
If Mindbender is controlling these dreams, does that mean he invented that one too? That dirty little pervert! Granted, I shouldn't be so shocked that a man dressed like this could be a pervert, but still, damn dude! Anyway, there's no more time to dwell on Lady Jaye being naked at the Super Bowl, and there's a sentence I didn't think I'd ever say, as the Joes get an alert. The Dreadnoks have taken over an oil rig and have taken hostages, so they must be stopped. The Joes bravely go to free the hostages by shooting the crap out of the oil rig. I see they subscribe to the Kill 'em all let God sort 'em out school of hostage negotiation. The Dreadnoks are ready for them though, as they activate a giant inflatable cobra, bringing Hawk's nightmare to life right in front of his eyes. And this works! Well, at least for a few moments. Hawk puts on his big boy pants and personally goes in to take care of the snake.
Get back, everyone! This snake is mine! I don't want anyone else near it!
After Hawk has bravely destroyed, a balloon animal, the bad guys set a bomb and get the hell out of there. With not enough time to defuse the bomb, the Joes just free the hostages and get the hell out of there.
As an aside, I swear they're just reusing character models for the hostages.
This guy looks like Hawk from behind, and this one resembles Steeler. Anything to save some time and a few bucks, I guess. Oh well, at least Lady Jaye has speaking lines in this episode. Mindbender is pleased with the test, but Serpentor is less than impressed.
Weeks will not do. I want results now. This I command!
Also, Mindbender, can you get me a ladder? I freaking can't get down from here. We switch to a completely different cartoon? Oh, it's just a movie. Yeah, Iceberg is on a date with that girl from Iceberg Goes South. But he's so exhausted, he falls asleep.
Iceberg?
Man, this must be the most understanding woman in the world. First, the guy turns into a whale, and then he can't even keep his eyes open when he's with her on a date, and she still doesn't leave. The other Joes aren't doing too hot either. They're all trying to stay awake, leading to a real nightmare.
Who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts.
80s fashion! It can strike at any time!
Oh, and this turns out to be yet another nightmare, so we can thank Hawk for the short shorts on display here. All the Joes continue to have nightmares, and we finally get inside Lowlight's head as he falls asleep.
Turns out he has daddy issues.
His father used to make him stay up at night all alone in the dark in a junkyard, where he had to kill rats to get over his fear of the dark. And his fear of rats, I guess. As a result, he's been fighting monster car rats in his dreams for years. Dude, that's pretty messed up. Mindbender tries to take advantage of this by turning the rat cars into Cobras, but Lowlight ain't having none of it and just blasts them.
You're gonna be tougher than me! And these days they don't make anyone tougher! Hear me, Dad!
What was Mindbender thinking? You've got perfectly good nightmare fuel with those cars, and yet you turn them into lame snakes? That's like turning Freddy Krueger into... Freddy Krueger without makeup. Not nearly as intimidating.
Speaking of A Nightmare to Elm Street, too bad none of those kids ever thought of taking a sniper rifle with them in their dreams. I'm not saying it would have worked, but it would have scared the crap out of Freddy for at least a couple of seconds.
Anyway, we are 15 minutes into this 22-minute cartoon, and only now are the Joes figuring out Cobra might just have something to do with their bad dreams. And only because they finally realized they've all been dreaming about those giant snakes. I'd like to point out that Lifeline has had over a dozen reports of nightmares before this point, and he didn't put two and two together.
That's some fine medicining there, dumbass.
Lifeline does come up with a solution though. All the Joes have to link themselves together so they can share their dreams, because they can do that apparently, no real explanation given, with Lowlight in charge. Meanwhile, Serpentor has ordered Mindbender to personally enter the dream world to finish off the Joes, because he can do that apparently, no real explanation given.
Science!
Also, for some reason, entering the dream world means going through the opening credits of Doctor Who. The nightmare setting they end up in is appropriate. You've got the junkyard from Lowlight, but it's set in the Arctic like Iceberg's nightmare. Things immediately go to hell as everybody is in mortal danger, and Mindbender hasn't even shown up yet.
Dalton can't speak! What's happening to us?
Hey!
Lady Jaye still has her clothes on! I feel robbed. Robbed, I tell you!
Lady Jaye!
Mainframe.
Help me, please! Help me!
Mainframe's nightmare is turning into a robot? I would have figured that would be his fetish or something.
Iceberg! Grab my hand! Iceberg!
Oh look, the black guy dies first again. Or not?
The Joes band together and use the power of, holding hands to defeat their nightmare, so Mindbender personally shows up to finish them. As a column of fire with his face on it. That's really lame.
Hey, Lowlight, could you quit doing my job for me?
Lowlight comes in with a freaking army of living rat cars to attack the Cobras. Now that's awesome! So, how does Lowlight defeat Mindbender himself?
Well, unfortunately, it's kinda lame. It's basically this.
Yeah, he just grows giant-sized and throws a block of ice at him, making him wake up. Of all the ways this fight could have ended, that's what they went with?
I mean, it's a freaking dream! Literally anything goes!
I mean, he could have kept growing and squished Mindbender under his foot or something. Or hell, grow the rat cards bigger and have them eat him. But no, throwing some ice at him is enough to terrify the good doctor. Terrify him enough to even make him temporarily sane.
I must destroy that evil machine!
Wonder how he's gonna explain that one to Serpentor.
My Lord Serpentor, our magnificent nightmare machine was destroyed. Destroyed? By who? One of the Joes! He must have snuck in here and shot it! Well, find him then! No, he's long gone, escaped without a trace! Very well, carry on then. Oh, and have you found me a ladder yet? And our episode ends with the Joes waking up, but they let Lowlight sleep because he's earned it. And that was Nightmare Assault.
And honestly, it was pretty damn good.
It was a nice character piece on Lowlight, though they did change his origin from the file card. There, he was afraid of the dark as a child, but his father wasn't a dick about it. While the premise wasn't original, Nightmare on Elm Street came out something like 1 or 2 years before, they did a good take on the whole dreams can kill you thing, and the nightmares were pretty spot on for the characters.
Well, most of them anyway.
Yeah, I still don't get why the IT guy would be scared of turning into a robot. Hawk being afraid of giving orders that get his men killed was very well done though.
The only thing that bothered me was the ending.
I mean, come on. Mindbender appearing as just a column of fire with a face, and then him getting defeated by just having ice thrown at him, that's just lame. They could have gone in so many different directions with this, even for a children's cartoon. Now, I mentioned they didn't figure out Cobra was behind their nightmares until well over half the episode was over.
In the cartoon itself, well, there's no excuse for being that stupid.
But if we look at it from a more realistic perspective, then it actually makes sense.
Think about it.
We're talking about a group of soldiers who have been fighting a terrorist organization non-stop for years now. Of course they'd have nightmares about that. It wouldn't seem out of the ordinary for any of them, including Lifeline. Hell, in real life, all these people would suffer from PTSD at this point.
If you look at it that way, the story becomes pretty damn dark all of a sudden.
But since this still is an 80s children's cartoon, we can also take it on face value, and judging it by those standards, it was a terrific episode with a somewhat weak ending. Also, it got a million young boys thinking about a naked Lady Jaye, so it's got that going for it.
Well, see you next time, and happy Halloween, everybody! Speaking of A Nightmare to Elm Street... Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome to the Halloween special!
Over the years, we've seen ghosts, zombies, and even Great Cthulhu. Twice.
This year, why don't we take a look at an episode with an original monster in it?
Let's talk about the cartoon episode, In the Presence of Mine Enemies. The title seems to be taken from a book of the same name, a real-life account of an American fighter pilot being shot down and taken prisoner in the Vietnam War. Using the title here sort of makes sense if you tilt your head and squint. I mean, elements are there.
But, unless I've been gravely misinformed, the Viet Cong did not have killer robots or genetically engineered monsters.
The title is also from the Bible, talking about God keeping you safe even when surrounded by enemies, which makes sense for the Vietnam book, less so for this cartoon. Because again, I don't remember killer robots in the Bible. Well, maybe in Michael Bay's version.
Anyway, let's get on with the story.
We start with Slipstream, the Conquest pilot, intercepting a command code transmission from Cobra, and using telemetry from it to destroy their satellite. Cobra, being a bit pissed off at this, sent planes after him to get the code back.
Now to head back to the flag and a hot meal.
The first dogfight with the Firebat is pretty cool, only marred because the AVAC turns into a battle android trooper for a few scenes after ejecting. Yeah, nice quality control there. The next battle with 3 Night Ravens goes well for the most part, but one Stratoviper is surprisingly competent.
Very cute show. Now it's time for a Stratoviper's Guide to Landing the Hard Way.
The animation here is damn good and fairly unique. Kudos. They managed to shoot each other down.
Raven will remember you with honor.
Huh. Worse than that. That Stratoviper's bringing his Night Raven down in one piece.
Dude, you couldn't tell by the voice that it's a woman? They both end up on an abandoned Cobra base on an island, and Raven, the Stratoviper, isn't finished fighting.
So much for honor among pilots!
Yeah, by the way, they called the Night Raven pilot Raven.
Really? You couldn't come up with a more original name?
Then again, I can think of at least one Joe that would be happy if he were named after his vehicle. Poor Skidmark.
I'll write a nice epitaph on your tombstone.
My laser!
I should note she's had Slipstream dead to rights 2, maybe 3 times, and only fails because of bad luck. It's good to see a strong Cobra character for once not fail because of their own stupidity. Anyway, reinforcements arrive. I swear that door sound is another sound effect they took from Star Wars. Raven has apparently never read the Battle Android Trooper file card.
Stop! Don't shoot! I'm on your side!
So she loses some points there.
Put me down, you overgrown Boy Scout! It's impossible to fight that single-handed!
Lady, he's not trying to fight them. He's trying to run away from them.
They hide in a building and find a secret entrance.
We've been slimed.
He slimed me.
It's not slime, stupid. It's,
Yeah? It's what?
Never mind. Let's go.
And this is why I picked this episode, because here it becomes a Halloween special. Abandoned underground base with mysterious stuff? Now that I like.
Bat! This is Stratoviper Raven! I've got a prisoner!
Though I have to admit, I've never seen a monster movie where a victim actively tries to get caught by the killer robot.
Lady, you dumb.
You still think they're here to help you?
Their programming must be faulty.
Very dumb.
Raven, it's dangerous to go off by yourself.
Does this gag look familiar to anybody else? Yeah, it's not enough that they take sound effects from Star Wars, now they gotta steal entire scenes?
Oh no! The alarm system! Watch the floor!
And while this trap here isn't literally from Indiana Jones, well, it is in the same style. Yeah, at this point they should be worried Harrison Ford is gonna sue somebody. Raven takes this opportunity to steal the command tape back, but at least does finally explain a few things.
This is one of Dr. Mindbender's bioengineering labs. Too dangerous to keep on Cobra Island. Something went wrong. We've been trying to fix it.
Ooh, a mad scientist and bioengineering! Let's see what kind of monster we're dealing with!
Slimy, tentacly, and with more than one mouth. Pretty eldritch, I approve. And now we know why there are battle android troopers in this episode. So the traps and the monster can kill them without upsetting any sensors or parents. Because nobody gives a crap if a robot dies.
I didn't cry at the end of Terminator 2. You cried! Shut up!
Anyway, while the killer robots and the genetically engineered monster are fighting each other, and as an aside, I love it when part of my job is saying stuff like that, our heroes try to get away. They're being observed though, and hindered.
We're gonna get diced!
Not this pilot!
What's with G.I. Joe and huge ventilation ducts? Somewhere out there, John McClane is crying. They find the communications room, and Slipstream manages to call in the cavalry, but Raven finally gets a dose of reality.
Dr. Mindbender!
You've provided us with a great deal of entertainment, fool.
And what about me? Is this my reward for loyalty to Cobra?
Yes, you'll die a hero, my dear. And by the time the Joes reach you both, there'll be nothing left but 2 small birthmarks.
Now, like I said before, some parts of this episode had some damn fine animation.
This part though, yeah, not so much.
The burning Cobra logo appears out of nowhere, then lacks any definition, and the bats either appear out of a solid wall or a blue void, depending on how you look at it. I expect this kind of crap from Deke, not Sunbow. So now they have bats and the monster after them again, though the Bio-Annihilator is happy to munch on Droid. They find a computer to set the base to self-destruct, because every self-respecting evil lair has one of those, and Raven gives back the command code. Incidentally, considering that's a cassette tape, and this was the mid-80s, I have to conclude that Cobra runs their bases on Commodore 64s.
We got 60 seconds before this place blows sky high.
Yeah, it took about that long to load a game. Oh, and the guy who gives the self-destruct warnings couldn't be less interested in his job.
Please evacuate immediately. Please evacuate immediately.
I like to think that was intentional. Cobra gives so little crap about their personnel, they had a guy just quickly record this at lunch or something.
Please evacuate immediately.
Can I get back to my burrito now? So, they make their way out being chased by the monster, and I think it's actually voiced by the same guy who does Destro. So that's weird to listen to, Destro being all blarg. Just in time, of freaking course, a tomahawk arrives to rescue them as the base explodes, killing the monster.
I was gonna call him Slimer too.
And the episode ends on this.
Bringing back a prisoner, Slipstream?
No, I think this is a recruit.
Yeah, 'cause that's how that works.
And that was In the Presence of Mine Enemies.
And it was pretty damn good.
Sure, there were some animation screw-ups, but the story itself was fine. You got a rare glimpse at what Cobra's indoctrination does to recruits. I know I've called Raven dumb on several occasions this review, but it really isn't her fault. She's been so brainwashed by Cobra, she can't accept the reality she's in. This is seen in both subtle and overt ways, like blaming Destro for her gun not working.
Power pack's gone. Blast! Destro and his shoddy equipment!
Because Destro is the weapon supplier, and so technically not a part of Cobra. More overt is believing the bats must be malfunctioning, even though their file card says they're dangerous to everybody, and Cobras don't like being near them. Honestly, if this was a more mature cartoon, we'd see the devastating psychological effects being betrayed by Mindbender at the end would have on her. Instead, we got this.
No, I think this is a recruit.
Sure is easy going from a terrorist to a Joe in this universe. Mercer and Scoop say hi. Of course, we never see this character again.
Which is a real shame.
I remember being disappointed as a kid that I never saw her again in the cartoon, and that we never got a toy of her. The toy line could have used more women, especially Cobra, who got a grand total of 2 in the original line that ran for 12 damn years.
It would have been easy as hell too!
Just put a new head sculpt on the Strato Viper. That figure already looked pretty unisex. I mean, you couldn't say for sure if there were boobs under there or not, so it wouldn't have cost Hasbro much money. But, you know, marketing, focus testing and all that crap probably kept them from doing it.
In the years after the original line ended though, well, we never got a Raven toy either, and there's just no excuse for that.
In a world of convention and collectors club exclusives, where Big Lop, goddamn pissing Big Lop, managed to get not 1, but 2 freaking figures, we never saw a single Raven. And don't give me any bullcrap that it's a rights issue because she was created by the cartoon, since Sparks got a freaking toy, and they could have just made an African-American female Strato Viper and called her literally anything except Raven.
Wow, I really went on a tangent there, didn't I? But this is important to me. Where's our damn Raven figure?
Anyway, back to the episode. The monster looked good and had its moments munching on androids.
But I have to ask, was it really necessary in this story?
2 enemies, being pursued by killer robots while having to avoid traps and being forced to work together. That's your episode right there. No monster would have meant more time to get into Raven's head and really delve into the psychology here. Still, what we got was fine, and I did get a childish glee from seeing Slimer go Eldritch Horror on those robots.
Overall, it was a good episode and character piece I can recommend. Well, happy Halloween everybody, and I'll see you next time. And hey, why not like, share and subscribe if that's your thing.
Greetings, mere mortals. Today, Timmer will tell you the tale of the tape. The cursed tape that came with a cursed figure.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and happy Halloween everybody!
And this year, we'll be looking at the cartoon episode, Revenge of the Pharaohs.
I can't wait! Ancient evil, spooky things going on. Let me just read the synopsis real quick.
Night Creeper leader gets punked on the head, making him believe he's the reincarnation of an ancient Egyptian pharaoh. Hijinks ensues.
Wait, what?
I can't help but feel that the title of this episode is a blatant lie. Well, it's a Deke episode, so I should have seen that coming, really.
Well, too late to back out now. It's the one I've selected, so let's delve in, I guess.
We begin in Egypt, in Pyramid City to be precise.
Pyramid City is my kind of town, Bullhorn.
Yeah, that's not a real place. And they don't mean Giza either. The Joes are there because Cobra might try to steal some of Egypt's treasures. And sure enough, within seconds Cobra breaks into a museum to get their crime on. You know, usually in fiction when they try to rob a museum, it's a very quiet, very subtle affair. Here they have all the subtlety of an angry elephant stampede. This, of course, attracts the attention of the Joes, who were there seconds ago.
Seriously, they couldn't have waited 5 minutes?
Lady Jaye's plan to stop the theft is to hit the platform with a javelin, so it, and the priceless statue, comes crashing down from 5 meters up. And they then proceed to have a firefight in the room full of priceless antiques.
Somewhere out there, an insurance agent just started bleeding out of his eye sockets, and he doesn't know why.
During the fight, a Night Creeper leader gets knocked silly. Twice.
The result is...
What? The Pharaoh. He is... I am... Now I remember what I must do.
Then there you have it, folks. The entire premise of the episode. I wish somebody would hit me on the head.
After giving Lady Jaye a look that explains why he's called Night Creeper leader, he escapes. So, Creeper thinks he's the reincarnation of a pharaoh, and even Cobra Commander is calling bullcrap on that, but Destro says it's better to play along.
I have learned that I am the reincarnation of the lost pharaoh.
You couldn't rule a sandbox.
Because Cobra is bankrupt. You spent a fortune on new weapons, all on credit, and the banks are calling in our loan. There isn't even enough money to pay the Night Creeper's fee. On the other hand, there is a way to get the Night Creeper to fight for us.
Okay, so Cobra is broke, and they remembered that the Night Creepers are a separate faction hired by Cobra. That's good. Too bad they forgot Destro also has his own faction at this point. In fact, he's supposed to be the one that sells his weapons to Cobra in the first place.
Always interesting to see just how little of a crap Deke gives about the G.I.Joe mythos.
Anyway, they come up with a new plan. They attack a huge dam. The dam guards don't stand a chance against the dam attack, so Cobra scores a dam victory.
Sorry, I'll stop that now.
And, as is tradition, Cobra Commander reveals his plan on television.
Citizens of Egypt! Last night, Cobra forces occupied the Nile Canyon Dam and installed several tons of high explosives. Pyramid City will be washed away. Destiny has brought Egypt a new leader, Pharaoh Night Creeper. Turn over the government of Egypt to your new pharaoh.
Huh. Make this guy your king, or we drown a city. I can't decide if that's awesome or stupid. It does sound like something out of Game of Thrones. As the Joes are evacuating the civilians out of the city, Lady Jaye gets a nasty surprise.
What are you waiting for?
You.
Well, that explains why Lady Jaye is in the episode. A character that hasn't had a toy in years. It's so they could have a woman getting kidnapped.
Screw you, Deke. Screw you.
Meanwhile, the Joes have sent Captain Gridiron and Ambush to infiltrate the dam and defuse the bombs.
Why would a grappling gun sound like a laser?
Back with Cobra, Creepy gets a delivery.
Of course.
Lady Jaye!
No! Lady Jaye is here on my invitation.
as my queen-to-be.
You know, stupid as this all is, it is a nice change of pace to see Cobra Commander being the one who has to put up with lunacy instead of being the one that causes it.
You phony pharaoh!
The slightest touch in the Nile Canyon Dam will be no longer.
Oh, well, in that case, Pharaoh darling, just call me Cleopatra.
Short as this exchange is, it's disturbing on many levels.
Anyway, in a twist that's uncharacteristically smart for Cobra Commander, it turns out they wanted the city to be evacuated so they could steal everything valuable from it that isn't nailed down. That's sort of a little diehard of them. Meanwhile, Gridiron and Ambush managed to disarm at least some of the bombs.
But I was great at kicking extra points.
Though I have to doubt the wisdom of violently kicking the explosive device. The Joes find out about the pillaging, but the way the cartoon is edited makes it a total unclear mess.
Let me try to explain.
Creepy Pharaoh sees Cobra destroying his city, gets upset and wants to blow up the dam. Lady Jaye says she has friends that can help, presses a button and Hawk appears on screen, yells "Go Joe!" and the view switches to the Joes advancing on Pyramid City.
Trust me.
Go Joe!
I didn't edit that transition in any way.
The dialogue implies that Lady Jaye warns the Joes of Cobra's pillaging, but the edit makes it look like they were already on their way there without needing to be told. Was there a scene cut for time?
Or is this just another example of Deke's stellar quality?
So, of course, a battle breaks out, resulting in even more property damage, including a giant statue of the Pharaoh, which sends Creepy over the edge.
Well, he was already over the edge, what with him thinking he's a pharaoh and all. This just sends him over a completely different edge.
And though Lady Jaye tries to stop him, he manages to activate the remaining damn bombs.
Oh no!
That's some awesome voice acting there. Real emotion.
The 3 remaining bombs go off. By the way, their designs remind me of T-Bop from Mask, so seeing one blow up is a bit cathartic. The explosions cause the dam to be slowly destroyed, and so the city will be eventually flooded. This, of course, causes both the Joes and Cobra to crap themselves, as they are all in the path of the flood. The Joes' solution? Well, that's the same solution they use for practically every problem: blowing stuff up.
Seriously, the other half the battle, that's just huge explosions.
Even Cobra gets in on this as they help the Joes, just to save their own skin, mind you. This combined effort succeeds, so naturally Cobra screws the Joes over straight afterwards.
I believe it's time to resume our previous activity. Those double-crossing Cobras just slammed the door in our face.
And so all the Joes die and Cobra wins. Okay, not really, but that would have been an excellent Halloween episode.
Of course Hawk and Salvo get rescued by helicopter. Though we don't see anybody from those Hammer Humvees get rescued, so they could be dead. Creepy and Lady Jaye are still in trouble, as the genius forgot his own palace was in the path of the water. Cobra comes to save him, and he sorta shrugs off the whole pharaoh thing.
Very true. My dream of being pharaoh is shattered.
Huh, usually in fiction it takes a second bunk on the head for everything to go back to normal. Here it's just like, plot point is over.
It looks like Lady Jaye is out of luck.
Farewell, my queen.
Hey, I know parting is sweet sorrow, but this is...
Aww, isn't he just the sweetest little kidnapping bastard you've ever seen?
The episode ends with Lady Jaye getting picked up by the Joes. And that was Revenge of the Pharaohs.
Happy Halloween, I guess?
Yeah, just looking at the title of the episode, you would think this would be a supernatural story. But nope, just one guy who gets bonked on the head and dresses up like an idiot. I'll admit this is scraping the bottom of the barrel for a Halloween special, but truth be told, I've run out of appropriate episodes to talk about. The only thing really notable here is that this episode was picked to be on a special tape that came with rapid fire, a very ugly figure. Yes, this episode was worthy of an individual release on videotape with an action figure.
As you may have been able to guess, I didn't think this was such a good episode. In fact, it was pretty bad. Which, unfortunately, makes it an average Deke episode.
It does have one redeeming feature. Cobra Commander has what's probably his smartest plan ever, using the zaniness of the main premise, idiot thinks he's a pharaoh and wants to rule Egypt, and uses it as a distraction so he can rob an entire city blind.
That's actually pretty brilliant when you think about it.
In conclusion, this episode would have been a lot better if Night Creeper Leader had actually been possessed by the spirit of an ancient pharaoh. Then at least he could play a children's card game. As it is, well, like I said, an average Deke episode, so it was pretty dire.
Well, that wraps up October. I've had a ton of fun this month, but it did take a lot out of me, so there won't be a review next week. I do, however, urge you to watch next week's video, because we're kicking off the charity drive. I'll see you then, people, and hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing.
It's a good day to die when you know the reasons why.
Hey, welcome to Half the Battle, and welcome, my friends, to the Halloween special.
This year, we'll be looking at the episode Infested Island.
I'm talking about giant monsters, horrible mutations, and the end of the world. And I'm hyping this up way too much because it's a Deke episode, and those always suck.
Still, let's give this a chance, shall we? The episode starts with the septic tank.
And nope, not giving it a chance.
Yeah, when the first thing you see is the worst vehicle they ever made, you know you're in for a wild ride. Anyway, Cesspool is out spraying toxic sludge, just because. No, really, he's just out there killing trees for the fun of it. There's no scheme, plan, or other reason.
When I'm through, these redwoods will be a toxic wasteland.
The complex and multi-layered villain the Deke cartoon is so known for. He's interrupted by Flint's horrible voice actor.
Hold it, Cesspool. This forest's off limits to the likes of you.
Seriously, I complained about this way back in my Sludge Factor review, but this voice actor has to be on Quaaludes or something.
Toxo sludge. What a lousy way to start the day.
Cesspool sprays some of his sludge on a grasshopper. Well, it clearly misses the insect, and I'll swing back to this later, but the result is it grows to 4 times the size of a tank. Cesspool's reaction is,
Stop that!
mild indignant annoyance. He's confronted with a monster the size of a barn, and he whines at it. Then this turns into a Wile E. Coyote cartoon as his tank falls down a ravine. He's holding onto a branch and calmly comments how this new sludge can mutate insects, something he didn't know it could do. And he's calmly formulating a plan to use this new information, while still hanging on for dear life, I remind you.
Maybe I was wrong about who was on drugs here.
And all this happens before the theme song plays. Yeah, this was just a prologue.
That was just the prologue. We're less than 2 minutes into this train wreck. I hope you packed a lunch, people.
And Batman thought he had the long Halloween. So, after the theme song, Cesspool appears on the giant TV in the Eco Warriors base to taunt them. No explanation given how he got out of his life-threatening predicament from earlier, or why he wasn't captured.
But if I wanted a coherent story, I wouldn't be watching a Deke episode, now would I?
And hey, appearing on a giant screen is Cobra Commander shtick. He should sue for copyright infringement. Anyway, he says he'll give the Joes a demonstration of his new sludge. Because you always want to give your enemies a heads up about where you're going to strike, so they can thwart your plan easier.
My new toxic weapon? It's so unbeatable even you Joes can't stop me!
And his voice has somehow become more grating than in the last episode he was featured. It's like he's being voiced by Skeletor.
Or maybe... Hey, did you do any voice acting in the 90s?
Don't be stupid! I sound nothing like that!
Uh-huh.
So, using a sonic tone, Cesspool attracts a swarm of giant insects to San Francisco. The Joes arrive while the insects cause a panic, and I just love this woman's reaction. At first, there's panic, then when Clean Sweep takes the grasshoppers away, it's business as usual. Oh, it was just another one of my giant bug hallucinations. I should really cut back on the mushrooms. Trying to capture the grasshoppers goes bad for Clean Sweep, but not to worry, he's safe. Yeah, I guess they're so used to bailing out of planes in the cartoon now, they just pack an extra aircraft for the occasion. By the way, the Joes try to lasso them, evacuate some people, and one bug gets caught in a bridge, but at no point do they shoot them.
Why? Because this is a Saturday morning's children's cartoon, and they didn't shoot living things in those.
That's why I mentioned the mutating sludge even misses the first grasshopper in the beginning of the episode.
Look, I wasn't exactly expecting Starship Troopers here, but them not even shooting the bugs is really distracting.
Anyway, the Joes learn the mayor of San Francisco has surrendered the city to Cobra. Wait, what?
Yeah, and there's more bad news. The mayor just surrendered the city to Cesspool.
Do mayors even have the authority to do that? I mean, could the mayor of New York say, well, we've surrendered to Belgium. Report to the waffle mines.
Ozone hitches a ride with the bad guys all the way to what I assume is the infested island of the title. He's almost immediately spotted and falls into the sludge, though he does manage to contact the Joes. I'm guessing that can't be good for him. It didn't do that guy from RoboCop any favors. So most of the Joes head for the island, while Clean Sweep works on an antidote for the bug mutations. Meanwhile, Cesspool releases the bugs on the world, and look how they save money on animation here. Yeah, that painting style is usually reserved for anime. The Joes arrive in a, shall we say, unique fashion.
We're out of here.
Okay, one interpretation is they lost control of the plane. The other is they deliberately crashed it into the Cobra base. I'm gonna have to go with the latter, as he clearly pushes the stick before bailing out. Yeah, the Joes deliberately crashing a plane into a building.
Yeah, let's just move on, shall we?
The Joes attack and enter the base, and I do love seeing septic tanks blow up. A rare moment of personal joy in this episode. They confront Cesspool and...
Where's Ozone? No more toxobugs.
Ozone's mutated into a bug. Yeah, we've gone from Starship Troopers for preschoolers to The Fly for kids. So the Joes are now fighting giant bugs and bug people.
I'm getting G.I.Joe the movie flashbacks here. That's never a good thing.
The Joes are so shocked by this, they are easily captured, and Cesspool plans to turn them all into mutants, or Toxo-Joes as he calls it.
It'll be all the more sweet when I turn you all into Toxo-Joes.
By the way, looking at Ozone here, this is a cartoon. These are drawn images. And somehow it still looks like a guy in a rubber mask from a cheap B-movie. Though I do like how they incorporated his beard into the design. He's ordered to go attack the world, flying on another bug. What, is this Sectors now? But he overcomes his programming and turns back, only to fall onto a big radar dish.
Thanks, man. You really contributed to the plot there.
As he's using his claws, hanging on for dear life, Clean Sweep arrives with the antidote. not sure curing him at this point is the best move, considering he's using those mutated claws of his to hang on. But it seems to work anyway. Cobra Commander arrives just in time for everything to go to hell.
Just in time for him and Cesspool to get a taste of their own toxic medicine.
That's what I just said.
Ozone arrives and saves Flint just in the nick of time, of course, and even captures the Commander and Cesspool. Ozone uses the radio to call back all the bugs, terrifying the bad guys. But Clean Sweep has used the antidote already. Off screen, of course. God damn it.
What's the big deal? It's just a grasshopper.
Grasshopper!
And the Joes laugh at them.
That's right, Cesspool. We turned your toxobugs back into normal insects.
Hey, how about arresting them?
And so you won't try it again. I've taken the disc with your formula.
And arrest them.
Hey, we just smacked when you left.
Arrest the leader of the global terrorist organization already. He's right there in front of you.
Of course not. The bad guys escape. Well, I wouldn't even call it escaping. They just kinda let them go.
And how? Well, look at this footage. I didn't edit any of that.
They're just standing there, the chopper appears in the background, the Joes make a surprised face, and the chopper leaves. They couldn't be bothered to animate them actually escaping.
That's the quality I've got to work with here.
And that was Infested Island.
How was it? Horrible, terrifying, and gruesome. But not in the good Halloween way.
The voice acting was somehow worse than the last time we saw the Eco-Warriors, the plot is neutered way too much, and the toys they were trying to sell included the septic tank.
Okay, that last one wasn't technically the fault of the cartoon, but I'll take any chance I get to crap on that thing.
Also, they reused the plot of somebody falling into a vat of toxic waste from the Sludge Factor, and I'm pretty sure they stole that from the 1989 Batman movie anyway. The biggest letdown was that they didn't even fight the giant bugs, let alone kill them. The insects were background noise. Hell, even the mutated Ozone didn't fight anybody.
Talk about missing every single opportunity your own plot presented to you on a silver platter.
This could have been a good episode, but it squandered its potential. And I feel like I say that with almost every Deke episode I review.
Phew, that was long. And I'm pretty sure I still left stuff out. Well, that's it for this Halloween.
And, to be honest, I'm running out of episodes for these specials. The only ones that are left are psychological horror, like There's No Place Like Springfield and Worlds Without End. But those are two-parters, so would require 2 reviews each.
I'll have to think about what we're doing next year. But for now, happy Halloween, everybody. And hey, why not like, share, and subscribe if that's your thing.
And your bollocks did up good, you did.
That is your Eldritch Abomination? I'm sorry, but that does not inspire hallucination. It's the curse of the tentacle creature.
into my nightmare. Right now, and everything's gonna change now. Let's go. It's the future I can see. That's so It's so mysterious to me. I like it. That's so It's the future I can see. That's so
Now, to try to not set my mask on fire as I try to switch the camera off.
good day to die. When you know the reasons why, citizens, we fight for what is right.